Hello, and thank you for joining us on this Wednesday, March 14th, for Saugus High School's Journalism Press Conference. I am Tia DeSalvo, and I am here to introduce Student Council President and Senior Olivia Singer, as well as Student Council Advisor and Head of the English Department, Mrs. Osgood. Olivia and Mrs. Osgood will be responding to a series of questions asked by the journalists of Sachem Times. Please welcome Olivia Singer and Mrs. Osgood.
Well, hello. We're really happy to be here. It's a new experience for us. You have some questions for us? First question? Yes.
Michaela Perella, Class 2015, Sachem Times. Mrs. Osgood, can you please describe the purpose and experience of the MASC trip?
Okay. MASC stands for Massachusetts Association of Student Councils. We here have our local Saugus High School Council. We also belong to the Northeast Massachusetts Association of Student Councils, which is the Northeast region of Massachusetts. And then we also belong to the MASC, the State Council. And therefore, we try to broaden our horizons a little bit beyond our school. So this is an annual state conference that I have gone to for the last 18 years as the advisor. And we go for 3 days on Hyannis, on Cape Cod, and we all recall the wonderful experience we had with the speaker we had here in the school, Chris Herron. That's the kind of activities that happen down at the state conference. We have wonderful speakers, motivational speakers. We have workshops that the students work on together from, with all the other students from all over the state. And they bring back great ideas to incorporate into our school. 80 schools participated this past conference with 1,000 students. So we really get a lot of interaction and motivational ideas.
Next question, please.
Sydney Bruce, Class of 2015, Sachem Times. Olivia, what part of the MASC trip was the most memorable?
This year, this was my third MASC conference, but this year, Bob Upgren, he was a motivational speaker, and he was funny yet really inspiring. He is a chalk artist also. He had a blackboard in front of everyone, and it was filled with negative things that hold people back. And he used his chalk skills and drawing skills and made a beautiful painting that was an American flag and a big, beautiful landscape. And it was really inspiring because under that beautiful picture was all the negative things. So I really liked that. Next question.
Tia DeSalvo, Class of 2015, Sachem Times. Olivia, is it true that Chris Herron spoke at the MASC conference?
Yes, it is true that Chris Herron did speak. He did a large group workshop at MASC. It wasn't as detailed as our assembly here at Saugus High, but it was just as inspiring. And some of the kids from Saugus High were in the workshop, and we got to tell him that we were from Saugus High, and he was really excited to see us again. So it was really nice. Next question, please.
Ms. Osgood, is it true that Saugus High was given an award at last week's MASC conference?
Yes, we received the Gold Council of Excellence, which is the highest award that the state can give to a local council. We had to put together a book with certain criteria that we had to meet, and we had to substantiate that we had completed these activities and tasks. And we passed it in a month before, and it was reviewed by the Executive Council of the state and deemed what level of excellence we had achieved, and we achieved the top level Gold Council. And there's only a few councils in the state that get that award, so we're in good company. Another question?
Hello, Valentino Pacha, Class of 2015, Sachem Times. Olivia, what would you tell someone to convince them to join Student Council?
To tell someone to join Student Council, I would say it's a great thing to get involved with at your school. I've been in it since my freshman year. I've been able to meet people all around the state and been able to get involved so much that I know people around the country. So it's really fun too. You get to meet so many people, run school events that are really recognized around the high school, and you can even be able to get involved in conferences like MASC, which are really fun and of course looks good on your college resume.
Another question?
Patrick Davis, class of 2015. Miss Osgood, what type of student would be interested in joining student council?
It should be someone who wants to get involved in his or her school, is willing to do all types of work, from backstage work up to perhaps being the president of the council. It is open to freshmen through seniors. It is an open membership. We invite everyone at the beginning of the year to join us, attend the meetings, see if it's something that would interest them, and get to work. And those who, in order to get onto the executive board, we look at those new members that join us and see who really is there to work at all the different activities and fundraisers that we have, and we invite them to apply to be an executive board member. Another question?
Alec Alicante, class of 2015. Mrs. Osgood, to what do you owe the success of the student council?
It is strictly due to the dedication of our members. There is so much involved. It's a year-round commitment. We have an activity going every month, and it's those students who step up to the plate for every activity, get involved, come up with good ideas, attend all of these conferences and workshops, come back with the ideas and bring them into our school. Those are the reasons why we've done so well, because there have been so many dedicated students on our council. Another question? Mm-hmm.
Danielle Strange, class of 2015, Sachem Times. Olivia, what event or activity that the student council sponsors do you think is most meaningful, and why?
I believe an activity that the student council sponsors that is meaningful is the Toys for Tots and the food pantry collection. We start collecting toys and canned foods around November, just in time for the holidays, for Thanksgiving and Christmas. The whole school can get involved, and by the end of it we end up collecting a good amount, and we give the food to the Saugus Food Pantry, and all the gifts go to less fortunate families in Saugus, so it really benefits our own town, which is really nice. Next question, please. Yep.
Michaela Perella, class 2015, Sachem Times. Olivia, what is the biggest challenge that the student council has faced this year?
I believe this year a big challenge that the student council has faced is getting more kids to be involved and just getting the student body to come to certain events. Maybe it's just the economy or the time, but it can be difficult when we have big events, and we work so hard working on them and we don't get as many people to come to them as we like. Next question. Yep.
Kaylee Murphy, class of 2015, Sachem Times. Olivia, what event or activity that the student council sponsors do you think is the most fun, and why?
I definitely think the funnest event we hold is Mr. Saugus High. It's well known around the school, around the town, and the community. It's great to see all the acts, because there's a good amount of guys that get involved, and it's always so funny, and everyone at the school knows about it, and it's really nice to see, and always wonder who ends up being the next Mr. Saugus High.
Do we have another question?
Yeah.
Please.
Valentino Pacha, class of 2015, Sachem Times. Mrs. Osgood, what are your responsibilities as the English Department Curriculum Specialist?
As the English Department Specialist, I oversee the English curriculum and all of the English teachers for grades 6 through 12. So I'm down at the Belmonte Middle School quite a bit, as well as up here at the high school. And I'm continuously working with the teachers of the department to update our curriculum, to oversee any of our, discuss our lesson plans and so forth that we're preparing for our classes. I observe teachers in the classroom and write evaluations on the teachers. And in both schools, so I'm down the middle school quite a bit. If there's an opening position, I'm involved in hiring a new English teacher. I meet with the administrative team, which is made up of the curriculum specialists and the VPs and the principal and the guidance director. And we discuss school-wide issues. And I also have to monitor the MCAS and SAT and AP English exam results, always looking to try to improve on those. And I am always on the lookout for professional development opportunities for the English teachers and share that with them when I get information. And I also teach. I have 2 classes. I teach the Advanced Placement English class and another Senior English class. I'm sure I do a lot more, but that's about what I can think of. Another question? Mm-hmm.
Patrick Davis, class of 2015. Miss Osgood, what improvements or changes do you foresee in the English department?
Well, when we come together as an English staff, we're always sharing new ideas, and so I leave it to the teachers. They're always coming into a department meeting and bringing up new ideas, such as one of the recent things that we incorporated was the senior portfolio. We always had at final exam time, seniors, as their last task was to take, in the English class, was to take their final exam. And we felt what would be more meaningful was for them to, all through their senior year, to have put together a portfolio of all of their work and use that as a sharing tool of their experience as students at Saugus High School and as a means of grading them for what they had accomplished for the year. And that came from the teachers in our meetings coming up with that idea. So those are the kinds of things that we do. And I can't anticipate because it's going to be the staff that's going to bring up these ideas. Another question? Mm-hmm.
Alicali Conte, class of 2015. Olivia, what is the greatest challenge to being the student council president?
The greatest challenge to being the student council president is getting every event organized and getting people to get involved and help out. Thankfully, I have a great executive board that's really good with helping me out, so it isn't just Mrs. Osgood and I freaking out that the event won't get complete, but that's probably the biggest challenge, but we end up pulling it together with every event. Next question, please.
Danielle Strange, class 2015, Sachem Times. Olivia, what advice would you give to next year's student council president?
To next year's student council president, I would tell them to stay organized, keep a binder with all the papers and forms that they're going to need throughout the year. I'd also tell them to really communicate with their board and the advisor, because that is what you need. You need to stay communicated with the board so they know what's going on, so you know what's going on. And I would tell them that it is a lot of work, a lot of hard work, but it's definitely rewarding. Next question, please.
Sydney Bruce, class of 2015, Sachem Times. Mrs. Osgood, how has the student council changed over the years?
Well, I have been the advisor for 18 years, and I can't see that it has changed all that much, the council itself. Every year I have wonderful students to work with, and we've always been involved in the regional and state activities as well as all of our local community service projects and activities. So that part hasn't changed. What has changed is the atmosphere within the high school, the apathy of the students. I would have, when we would do our carnation sale, we used to sell about 2,000 carnations, which would bring in $1,000. This past carnation sale, maybe 300 carnations, which brought in $150 profit for us. So Olivia mentioned Mr. Saugus High. That was always a huge, hugely attended activity. And we barely had enough to fill the first rows this year. The talent show, when we've done Color Day, Spirit Week, there was always so much involvement with the entire school of students, and I'm not seeing that involvement anymore, and it's a little discouraging because we think they're kind of fun events, and we wonder why students aren't getting involved. Another question?
Tia DeSalvo, class of 2015, Sachem Times. Mrs. Osgood, what is your favorite student council memory?
I would have to say, certainly all of the MASC conferences that I've gone to and the students who have attended with me and the great experiences we've had there. But I, as Olivia mentioned, always think back on Mr. Saugus High. And I would have to say in the late 90s into the mid-2000s, those years with Mr. Saugus High were incredible. We'd bring in 500 people. The contestants would be football players, hockey players, drama students, band students. They're all different factions from the population of the school. And when that football contestant would bring in the whole football team, they would come to support him. The hockey team would come to support their contestant. And it was almost a rivalry among the contestants to see who they could bring in the most to cheer them on. And it was really spirit-filled. And those days were really so much fun, and it really was exemplary of what a high school student life should be about, the fun that you should be having at this point in your lives. And I'm kind of sad that that excitement is kind of waning at this point.
Thank you very much.
Are we done? Great. This was fun. Thank you so much. You weren't so intimidating at all.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today. We would like to thank Mrs. Osgood and Olivia Singer for participating in this press conference. Join us next time on Sachem Times Live.